All right, so it looks like we got 50 Cent versus Marlon Wayans. And once again, it's all because of the Diddy docuseries. From what I understand, Marlon Wayans was out promoting his new film, Scary Movie 3. And during an interview, he was asked what he thought of the docuseries. Marlon Wayans goes on to say that he doesn't think 50 Cent should be kicking Diddy while he's down. He doesn't, and he believes that 50 Cent needs to be careful with karma. And he goes on to say that you can paint a narrative about anyone and twist the story however you want. Clearly, 50 Cent didn't take these comments lightly. He goes on social media and tells Marlon Wayans to stay out of it. Next thing we know, one thing escalates to another, and we have Marlon Wayans posting pictures of 50 Cent with Diddy in a jacuzzi, which are allegedly real or AI. We don't know. I doubt they're real. And then 50 Cent posting stuff about Marlon Wayans at Diddy parties. So the situation just got totally out of control. What's my take on it? Well, I think that Marlon Wayans was just really trying to promote his movie. And when the question came up, obviously the docuseries is the hottest topic right now. He viewed it as an opportunity to maybe add a little bit of sensationalism to it and use the buzz of the docuseries to promote his new movie. The one grave mistake that he made was that he poked the wrong bear. He poked and went at 50 Cent. We all know 50 Cent's history for being petty. So the reason why I say that it was a mistake on Marlon's part to go after 50 Cent is because we know that he's going to respond. We know that he's going to escalate, and we know that there's no boundaries to how far he will go once you kind of like include him in something. This situation actually got so out of control that Scary Movie 3 was trending on Twitter and people were calling for its cancellation just because of Marlon's comments. People basically viewed Marlon's comments as him victimizing Diddy. As we all know, Diddy is far from being a victim. He had his day in court. He was found guilty. And some people think that Diddy got off light. So victimizing Diddy is just not a very smart thing to do right now, considering all the testimonies, all the things that we have, we have been privy to. It's very difficult to make a case for Diddy being a victim. Also, today on The Breakfast Club, Lauren LaRosa spoke about how 50 Cent actually reached out to Diddy's son and Diddy himself to be a part of the documentary. So we just keep getting more and more evidence of 50 Cent when he was putting together the docuseries, of him really trying to show all sides and be as fair and neutral as he could. So just painting this picture of 50 Cent being this big bully, picking on Puff while he's down, was just not a good take from Marlon Wayans. And like I said, people were literally calling for the cancellation of Scary Movie 3. Also, this idea that Marlon put out there of 50 Cent manipulating a certain narrative, what's really interesting and unique about the docuseries is that there wasn't really a narrative that people weren't familiar with. As I've said in previous videos, most of the information was already known, at least by people from my age, like millennials and up. We either lived through a lot of this stuff or we had already heard it. The only sort of like innovative thing about this documentary was just how the packaging of it. The timeline was super well organized and clean, and then supporting the timeline with new footage that supports what they were saying. That was really like the only sort of like new thing. It's just the way the information was presented in such a clean timeline. So because a lot of these things we already knew or we lived through, this idea of pushing a narrative, it's very difficult to push, like or like to justify. There is no narrative. These are things that happen that most of us witness, and And yeah, we're gonna draw our own conclusions. Now, is Marlon correct that yeah, if you're a good storyteller, you can basically manipulate narratives. But I think in this case, what makes it interesting or what makes it different is that a lot of us live through this stuff and we've known about it. So the rumors were always out there, and then you couple that with the fact that 50 Cent did give Diddy and his son an opportunity to partake in the documentary. It kind of really brings that whole conspiracy theory of like pushing a certain agenda or narrative against Diddy out of the picture. So that was another sort of interesting thing that came out of that situation. And I think overall, one of the bigger discussions going on online is this idea of like bringing somebody down from your own community, which again, it's a really tough argument to make considering that as soon as the Diddy trial began, other platforms like Hulu, I can't think of some of the other one, Paramount, I think, had already created documentaries before the 50 Cent documentary. So it's not like 50 Cent was the first person to create a documentary against Diddy. And ironically enough, when those earlier documentaries came out, no one said anything about him. No one said anything about him. So it begs the question why now when 50 Cent or someone from the culture creates this documentary about Diddy, why is it all of a sudden an issue? Why are you holding them to a higher standard than you do with whoever did the Hulu or Paramount documentaries about Diddy? The whole situation is very interesting. Like I said, what I got out of it, you gotta be careful who you engage with, and you gotta read the room. Like you have to understand that. You have to understand the overall vibes and sentiment of the public. And you can't, it's difficult to tell people who live through certain situations that they are being manipulated with a narrative. And even up to this morning, like Marlon Wayans, he sort of apologized, but he didn't quite apologize. He's still doubling down on this idea of like, hey, you can don't be manipulated, don't be a cheap. It's easy to get manipulated, and I don't think he's quite reading the room. But bigger than that, he totally. I don't think he meant for any of this to ever go that far. And usually, if you follow Marlon, when he comes to these situations, he usually just like doesn't care, and he doesn't care what people say, or he'll just joke about it. So the fact that he's actually like addressing this stuff on a serious level, it goes to show that the backlash definitely affected the rollout of his movie in a negative way. I think that he originally thought that by hopping on this topic that it would create momentum and buzz about his movie and bring more attention to his movie, but it just did the opposite to the point where he felt compelled to address it head on. But it is certainly an interesting thing. The Wayans family, they're another powerful. They've been very powerful in Hollywood and very elite for a long time. Marlon and the whole Wayans family really like they were. We saw in the documentary how popular Diddy was in the 90s and the early 2000s. The Wayans crew equally as popular and famous, and one could even say powerful. So they were definitely in those elite circles. People like Marlon Wayans have definitely been in those elite circles. It's no question. We've seen the pictures. Now, to what extent, we don't know. But that's where it becomes interesting, because now you think about, hey, Marlon, you've been to those Diddy parties. Why are you coming across as defending Diddy? Now, he's made it very clear that he's not defending Diddy at all. But it does beg the question, like, why even try to paint this picture of Diddy as a victim, when the whole world can clearly see that he's not a victim or any of that. So is Marlon Wayans hiding something? Is he protecting his friend, speaking up for his friend? I don't think so, personally. But he totally just misread the situation. And like I said, because of who it is and the fact that he's been famous for so long and all the things that he said and him picking this fight with 50, it will be interesting. I don't think they're going to continue to escalate the situation more. But if they do, I just think Marlon has been famous for too long. It's so easy for 50 to just find and dig and just keep going at him. So it'll be interesting what happens, but you guys let me know what do you think about this whole Marlon Wayans thing, and do you think that it was 50 Cent really kicking Diddy while he was down? Was he justified in kicking Diddy while he was down? Is he tearing down another person from the same culture? I don't know. It's all very interesting to me. Let me know what you think, and peace.